Well, it might have taken a 3-day weekend to get through this summer transfer window heading into season 4 at Luton Town, but I think it's going to be worth it. We've splashed the cash by our usual standards, we've brought in some massive names, some hilarious players, and we're also going to have a slight tactical shift too. We start this season the way we finished the last against Manchester City, and as two sides that finished just outside the relegation zone last year, it could be a very early indicator of what's to come this season. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 26 and season 4 of this FM06 Let's Retro Save from Luton Town with me, Daniel. Today we are focused almost entirely on a huge summer transfer window at the club. Loads of ins, loads of outs and loads of key players transfer listed. And we will then go and look at the tactical change that has led to, which is not as drastic as I'd initially feared, but could work either way. It's certainly slightly unusual, I'll give you that. And then we'll go and get into our first game of the season as two of last year's relegation battlers, us and Manchester City, go head to head in the Premier League. If you're looking forward to all of that and seeing the faces that are in and out of the club, then please do chuck a thumbs up on it. But for now, we have got to start in one key place. And I think the first half of this episode will be dedicated to transfers. So let's start with the outs, where there are probably not many star names, but we have managed to recoup a couple of £1,000,000. We've managed to get a few off the books that have been lingering for a while, and some of those who became backups and, well, not needed players at the end of last season. So 4 youngsters at the top, which we're not going to worry about. Dean Brill had pre-agreed to go to Carlisle at the end of his contract. Due to a couple of injuries, he didn't really develop to that top level. He has become a decent keeper and he'll go and play for them in the National League, where he seems to be a very good fit in fairness. Then our biggest fee of the summer, which I didn't expect, was for Michael Doyle, who again has gone to Gillingham, who seem to be splashing the cash in this save. £1.2 million. Most of that, it must be said, is in instalments, but there's also a sell-on fee as well. He's a player I feel a bit sorry for because we signed him to be a rotation player in the Championship. We then got promoted between agreeing a deal and him coming in, so he didn't get as much as he'd like. But he did okay for us, and now he'll go and play in the Championship with Gillingham, who I presume did secure their promotion. No, they didn't. Wow, that must have been a collapse. So now they've got him in League One. They're going to be looking a pretty good team, aren't they? Chris Brunt is in that squad as well. The next one is another free agent departure. Didn't get a club because of work permit issues, but Carlos Edwards has gone out on a free. Just never really happened for him. So many injuries, so many poor performances when he did feature, and then obviously couldn't sign a contract because of the work permit. So just a bit of a disaster all round. Danny Stevens, another one who developed, but not enough. He's gone to Basingstoke in non-league. And then we've started to pull in some fees for fringe and, well, not needed players again. Calvin Andrew was surplus to requirements. He's gone to Preston for 500,000. Be interesting to see if he can do well. He's gone in there as sort of a youngster. Made a sub appearance already, but he's one for the future for them rather than one for now. Joe Keenan was our starting left back a couple of years ago, but with Baraji and then with the Dutchman whose name I've forgotten coming in this summer, he dropped to third choice. We've got 5 holding midfielders better than him, so there was no need for him there. So Joe Keenan has moved on to Wolves, again for £500,000. He'll go and play in a Championship, and I'm sure he'll be fine. A good footballer, but not quite good enough for the next level that we want to go to. And then the final one is someone, again, we knew was going out. A fringe player, Sean Derry, has gone to Peterborough for £250,000. The long-haired Derry days are over. He has moved on to the Football League. And we wish him the best of luck, because again, scored a couple of big goals for us. So lots of players that have gone out permanently. And one surprise on the loans out as well, because Henrik Pedersen has left the club to go to Lokeren on loan. We obviously bought him in on a 2-year deal. He did a really solid job for us, particularly the first half of last season. But then he started to decline physically and technically. And unfortunately at 33, basically I had to get a new first choice. And it was then him or Howard. He was the easiest one to get off the book. Howard is a player who has still got exceptional attributes in some areas. So I felt he was the one to keep. He got more assists and more goals last season. So Henrik Pedersen is moving on. He's having his wages covered on loan. He's going to be out of contract at the end of it. And we've got an agreed price of 800 grand if for some reason they want to pay us before he's out of contract. But Henrik Pedersen did his job for us, but it is time for him to move on. And then Zach Barrett, one of the young goalkeepers, who's actually become okay. If he had a jumping reach, he'd be a good keeper. He's gone to Scunthorpe to play in the EFL. Surprised he's at a higher level than Dean Brill based on the attributes. So lots of players out of the club. No real senior ones yet, and there's a few names missing who I'm desperately trying to get off the books. We'll show you who in a minute. But now we've got to go to the ins, because I warn you, I said this would be a dramatic summer. I said there would be money splashed, and I said there'd be some big names coming in. Well, I wasn't lying. We're back in the arcade era of FM, and let's have a look at this list of 12.5 million spent. Boy, there are some names on here, aren't there? We've got a returning youth superstar. We've got a couple of players who featured for England quite heavily in their career. And of course, we've got lots of free agent deals, which you know were going to be happening. I'm just feeling like there's one missing there, but I think I might be wrong. First of the bunch is Valentin Robert, which could be a big problem because he's already said he's not settling in well enough. Something that used to happen a lot in these old FMs. He is a very good striker, but not training the best, struggling a little bit at the moment. Still scoring in pre-season, and him combined with one other signing is why we're sticking with two up front at the minute. But it meant that we've signed a third striker at the end of the window, just in case this doesn't work out. But Valentin Robert is a very good player for free, and even if he doesn't settle in here, we're definitely going to get a profit when we sell him on. Pierre Ducasse is the second Frenchman to come in this summer. Problem we've got is that a lot of them are playing at the Olympics and youth tournaments, so we've not got all of them available at the start of the season. But Pierre Ducasse is going to be a very good player. He's a rock-solid holding midfielder. And when you consider that people like Hughes and Nichols, who were stars last year, probably not going to be in the 11 this season, I think that shows how far we've come as a club, because he offers a bit of everything. And one of the keys this year, where we're replacing like Howard and Nichols and Hughes and people like that, even to an extent, some of the centre-halves as well, we've got to add the same quality of attributes elsewhere, but also more pace, also more physicality. And I feel with this guy, we've managed to do that. The third one is a name that needs no introduction. Matthew Flamini, who was on loan at Fulham in the Premier League last year, had a good season, comes in on a free from Arsenal. We didn't manage to get Yaya Toure in the end, but Flamini is a perfectly adequate replacement. He is a very solid pro at 24, mentally magnificent, again physically a superstar. He's good in the tackle, he's solid enough on the ball and sort of technically. But as another holding midfielder coming in, it's just enabling us to set up a more solid base in midfield while allowing one to go on and go and support the front two. So we can hopefully get 3 players in attacking positions and then 2 wing-backs going forward as well. So in Flamini and Ducasse, I think you can see we've added some really good holding midfielders when you consider that Hughes and Nichols are still there as well. But then we started to splash the cash, and some of these names are phenomenal. We start with Peter Crouch from Liverpool, £2.1 million. If we're going to get a target man in, we've got to replace the big man with a big man. And there aren't many bigger than Peter Crouch. 6'6", fantastic in the air, but crucially very good on the floor as well. Got a bit more pace than Howard and Pedersen. Also a very good penalty taker, which we had to consider, knowing that we probably wouldn't have Nichols in the team. I just think it's a huge upgrade. He's composed, he anticipates well, he's brilliant off the ball. He's got the lot. I'm a big fan of him, and at 27, he's fallen out of favour at Liverpool, but he's got a lot to offer us. And for 10 grand a week, yes, we've upped that wage bill quite a bit this year, but I feel like he's going to be worth it. Peter Crouch comes in our front two, possibly alongside Robert or another name you may have noticed a bit further down. But who is going to be the new midfielder supporting that front two? We've got Sean Maloney, who couldn't stay fit last year. So alongside him, we've got the option of Leon Osman, who comes in from Everton for the same price, £2.1 million. A very good player. And again, those attributes were really important to me. Someone who worked hard so he could still support the defence a little, but someone who was good on the ball and creative, brilliant off the ball and a good finisher, because I want them making forward runs. And when we get the flick on from Crouch, we've got Robert running off, we've got Osman running off, we've got the wing backs going forward. I need people who have got the legs to get in behind. And Leon Osman, again, adds a lot of attacking quality to that midfield. I know it's a shame for our youth players, Keith Keane and Kevin Foley, who will now have to rotate the right wing-back position, and that's only because we missed out on Dario Serna. But Leon Osman is a really good addition, and with Sean Maloney being the player who could become better and could stay fit, we've got one here who's sort of a guarantee for me. So Leon Osman, not played a lot for Everton in this save, but I know he's got the quality to help us out. Then we've got the final pre-agreed free agent, which you all knew was coming in. Mike Zonneveld from NAC Breda is a fabulous player. He is a brilliant left wing back. He's had a little injury, so he's not at his best, but he's getting back to full fitness. He's brilliant going forward. He's made for that wing back role. And again, brilliant penalty taker. And crucially, no Nichols, no Maloney in the starting lineup. We've got a 19 rated free kick taker. So Mike Zonneveld, I want 10 Premier League goals from you. He's also he is the modern 2024 wingback in 2006. He can come into midfield. He's got a brilliant passing range. He's creative. His positioning and technique are superb. He would be brilliant in the modern Pep era. And as you can see, he can cover holding midfield or centre half. So if we're desperate late in a game, we can chuck him in a back three and start creating from that position too. On to the final two, and the biggest signing of the summer, I think, was a little bit of a heart overhead moment. Curtis Davies comes in from relegated West Brom, and I've spent £5 million on him. Annoyingly, he signed a new deal just before the end of the season, which bumped up his value by, about 105%. So Curtis Davies comes in, but he's very good. And I mean very good. The club sold him for £3 million the summer before this save started in real life. And now a couple of years later, with development, we've got him back for £5. It's not terrible. However, mentally, magnificent. Lots of pace, which with him and Anton Ferdinand flanking Basagno is crucial. He's great on the ball. He's brilliant defensively. I'm still going to set up quite similarly this year, but if I notice these young players are developing more, I might switch to a more possession-based style next year, because in the likes of Basagno and Davis, we've got two excellent footballers at the back. In midfield, we're going to have plenty of players who are good on the ball. And going forward, yes, we've got Crouch up there, but it's not necessarily the be-all and end-all that we play direct to him, because we have got a team that can play through the lines a little bit and maybe be a bit more exciting to watch. So maybe after this season, that's the way forward. But Curtis Davies, a youth hero, is back. And if we ever do make it to the Champions League, we've got a homegrown player there. Then we thought we'd finish in style. We got the messages about Valentin Robert being a little bit unsettled, maybe needing to go home eventually. So let's get ourselves another striker in. We were being realistic. I know they've not left yet, but Feeney and Morgan, they're not going to do the job at Premier League level regularly. We might next season want to change to a system with wingers and be a little bit more aggressive that way, be a 4-2-3-1, for example. So Theo Walcott came in for 3.4 million. Southampton stayed down in the Championship, and Theo Walcott wanted to leave. He's just 19, he's going to improve, and he's happy to be a rotation with Robert for now. We know he's quick. We know he's got great finishing attributes here. Mentally, he's fantastic. He's very good running in behind, and if we do end up with wingers, he's going to be brilliant at that too. Theo Walcott is someone who is natural in both positions, has got plenty to offer in the future, and I really like him. Can run with the ball down the right, run with it down the left, and run with it through the middle. We're going to set him to train as a striker for now, but I am so happy with his signing, because again, I think we're going to make our money back when he improves. So that is, I would say, by my standards, a very big summer. Let's see what the team report says about it, because they've gone for a little bit of a weird one. There's this problem with them not picking a right footer at a left centre-half position, but you can see Cassie and Flamini have come in. They're the best rated holding midfielders. Osman's rated better than Maloney. Both strikers that have come in are the best rated at the club. Zonneveld's the best rated. Davis is the best rated. We've improved in almost every position. It's a real sign for the future. Brian Lake is a youngster who's starting to improve as well. We've got to keep our eye on him and get him tied down to a new deal as soon as he turns 17. But this is a side that I think can compete. Nigel Martin doesn't. He thinks they're weaker than last year for some reason. I mean, he's got Anton Ferdinand and Nick Basagno in the backup team. He really does think that this team is a little bit unbalanced. But I disagree with him. I think we've got a chance. The only problem we've got, and it's something I talk about all the time in these FM saves, is I don't like to make wholesale changes at once. Will they all settle in quick enough? That's going to be the test here. It might be a slow start. If we have a look at the fixtures after this game, it's a pretty nice run in truth. I know we've got Chelsea away, but then it's Wigan at home, Borough at home, Derby away, Palace at home. They're the sort of games that are going to be crucial to our survival. It almost would have been better if we'd had Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, United then, and then just played the games against the sides we'd like to get results against. But there are opportunities. I still think we've got the chance to be okay. And our relegation odds, while still among the favourites, has halved to 1,000 to 1, rather than 2,000 to 1 from last season. So let's go and get into our first game of the season. And as we do that, I've got to show you the slightly adapted tactic, because we have gone for this season, which is actually not a million miles away from what I played in FM24 with Luton, is it? Because this is a sort of more common modern formation than we see in the olden days. We didn't really see this a lot. It's a 4-3-1-2, two wing backs that can fly forward. Leon Osman in that number 10 role is going to be trying his best to get in behind. If I show you, we've set him to get his forward runs and his through balls on, something none of the midfielders did last year. We've got two balanced holding midfielders, and then we've got two strikers that I feel can offer a bit more. The problem, as you can see on this screen today, is that Basagno, De Cassi and Robert are all away on under 21 duty, which means we're a little bit hampered for our squad. We've still got plenty of deadwood in the squad that we can't get off the books as well. Transfer listed are Dean Morgan, Warren Feeney, Steve Howard in case, and then Heikkinen and Coyne as well. In an ideal world, I'd like at the very least to sell a centre-half and Feeney. We've also got Lee Grant that we've accepted offers for. He's rejected a couple of moves away already this summer. Then we're looking in other positions. We've got Johan Giroud, still loan listed in the reserves, but he's away on international duty too. And he's another one we'd like to get some football to this year. So we've got a squad that is largely fit, that's doing okay. But given that some are away on international duty, it's not going to be as strong as it could have been today. But then you look at the positives there, two of the new signings are away too. So it does mean we're not going to have as many to integrate at once as we might well have done. So let's pick our 11. We'll be back in a minute to run through it, because this is going to be a big signal for the season. Last season, we were 17th and 16th respectively. Which one's going to finish on top this year? And can we both stay out at the bottom three? Well, a couple of quick notes about this squad today, because Floribert Ngulula is just back from injury. He has not made it to full fitness. Probably would have been on the bench today if he had done. And Steve Howard is still on there. I think we're going to keep him now as the backup striker. It's just that with 1 year left on his deal and knowing we wouldn't offer him a new one, if we'd have got £1 million, I probably would have taken it. It's not to be though, so Big Steve will still be on the bench, but this is the 11 we've gone for. There are a couple of positions where I've kept in old players instead of going straight for the replacement. So for example, Maloney plays up front instead of Walcott today. That's one of the key ones. And there are a couple of those originals still in due to the international honours. So Kasper Schmeichel is between the sticks. He is now a very, very good goalkeeper, developing all the time and physically adding those little bits to his game as well. We got a back three of Ferdinand Davis and O'Brien. Basagno's away. O'Brien is back and improving after his long-term injury. Hopefully he'll do well in this one. Foley is at right wing back with Zonneveld making his debut on the left. Flamini also makes his debut in holding midfield alongside the skipper Kevin Nichols. Then Leon Osman is the new man in at number 10 behind the new big striker Peter Crouch and Sean Maloney up front. We're going to go and set a few penalty and free kick takers now, and we'll be back in a minute to head in to our first game of the season. Here we go then, and let's have a look at the two sides today, because City have not changed much from the final game of last season. In fact, might even bar right back be the same 11. It's definitely the same front six. It's definitely three of the same four. I'm pretty sure Naylor is the only one that did not start the last game, and he is a young player with bags of potential. So a very similar side for City, not the same for us. A very different formation and 11. Let's see how it pans out. No idea whether this tactical style will work in this FM, as Denilson is over a free kick early on. We won't be helped in finding out if they put one of them in the top corner, but thankfully Denilson puts it well high and wide. 10 minutes gone, we're already doing better than last time against City, but they are in the ascendancy here as Denilson on the left-hand side. Not got Keith Keane to charge past him this time as Reed's in at the back stick, but O'Brien does well. Flamini wins the challenge and it's up towards Crouch, who won't keep it in, but it is nice to have a striker who, as well as being the target man, can physically move as well. And Crouch is one of those, as Naylor's got the throw-in on the right for City. Zonneveld is going to chase it back against Sun Ji Hai, and Zonneveld wins it. Brilliant play. Then gives it straight away again. O'Brien forces Reed back though. It's good pressing. It's a long ball forward towards Denilson. Foley wins it for Maloney. Now he can break. Look at that. The extra man's forward in Leon Osman and he's running off the defence. This is what we wanted. And he's the man on the end of it. Osman into the box. Van Boyten with a great challenge. But that's what we need. We're going to be counter-attacking a lot. Can we get an extra person up there as that That's Rolls Royce defending from Anton Ferdinand. Crouch loses the header though, and Vassell's in for a long ball. Looked offside to me, but nothing given. Vassell cuts back onto his right foot into Stephen Reed, and his shot is very wide. A pretty ugly finish in truth. But 20 minutes gone, we've had a threat on the break, but it's all City for the most part, as Barton's corner finds Flamini. It's away as far as Maloney. We've nicked it back. Zonneveld's in. Mike Zonneveld's throw on goal on his debut. Maloney's with him. Zonneveld. Oh, what are you doing? He gets away with it. He runs straight into Rob Green trying to round him. Green gets a good hand on it, but Maloney's up there in support. And on the opening day of the season, from Manchester City's corner, we hit on the counter-attack. We gamble on leaving two forward. We've left Zonneveld as the option. He's actually pretty good defensively. But going forward, he's such a superstar dribbling with the ball. I wanted him to be up there with Maloney, and it's worked. As Denilson goes back to Green. Couldn't exactly bring Crouch forward for corners, could I, when he's got to do the defending. As Denilson to the byline, in towards Green, straight away over the bar. It's still not been a convincing performance. We've got the lead, which is crucial. We know we're going to have to suck up pressure because we're playing on the counter. We've got to make it count as Crouch holds up well. Finds Kevin Nichols, who's got a job to do to earn his place in the team, with the Cassie coming back soon as Foley gets into the box. 3 in the middle. Osman's won, and he wins the penalty. Brilliant stuff from Leon Osman. He's driving forward, making those runs, and he's forcing the midfielders to come back with him, and Sunji Hai did not do it quick enough as Kevin Nichols might be out of the team soon, but the skipper scores the goal from the spot. We're 2-0 up in half an hour. It is a dream start to the season. Can see at the bottom there, Lionel Messi has just equalised for Liverpool against Derby County as Curtis Davis picks up his first yellow on return, but been a very, very good result so far. We know we're going to be a threat on this counter, and that extra body going forward in Osman has really made a difference for the second goal in particular. As Ireland finds Joey Barton, who's on a yellow. Can we force him to get sent off? Ireland goes wide. Zonneveld blocks it. It's out for a corner kick. If we can just keep it 2 till half-time, that would be lovely. But they've had a threat from corners, albeit we've scored from one of theirs as well. Denilson puts it in. Schmeichel, magnificent. Against the club who let him go. Comes and claims it beautifully. We've now got 3 forward because Zonneveld has stayed up there. And we've got Crouch and Maloney. It might leave us a bit short at the back as Davis goes up for Osman. Finds O'Brien. Big chip forward towards Peter Crouch, who wins the flick on. Unfortunately offside. We're starting to see the little patterns come together there. I was worried if that combination of 3 would work in midfield. But it seems like we're okay. City apparently unfortunate to go in behind. We're pleased with the result. The performance has been alright. I mean, City have had more of the stats, but they've not had great chances, have they? They've just had a lot of corners and crosses into the box. Sylvain Distan's on for them, and they're on the attack now with Vassell. This is where we've got to be careful. Good defending again. I think it was Anton Ferdinand this time who blocks it behind. And it's yet another corner, but this is where we look threatening at times. Headed away by Davis, and off goes Maloney again. Their corners are our biggest attacking threat. Rocker wins it this time, though, gets it forward. And Vassell will chase it into the channel. Can't keep it in. It's out for a goal kick. This game plan so far has been executed beautifully by the lads. As Ferdinand plays forward to Kevin Foley. 25 to go. Denilson's got him under big pressure there. In the end, just panics, forces it back to Schmeichel, who hoofs it downfield first time. Curtis Davis nicks in though. Good bit of pace back there. Maloney finds Osman. Crouches with him, but Leon Osman goes alone. Fancied a shot from distance there. I don't mind that. I really don't mind it. He's starting to look a little bit of a threat there. He's in the hole. He's not really got much on him. And we're just over 10 to go. I've not really wanted to make subs because I don't want to mess with this plan. I want to get people gelled together as quickly as possible as we're in trouble there. Right, Phillips puts it over. But I am now going to make a couple of changes just with the end of the game in view. Let's see who we can go for. As Schmeichel is on the goal kick. We're not going to get the break just yet. Out towards the left. Crouch will chase it. He goes up against Rocker. Forces a poor clearance, which O'Brien wins. Van Boyten up against Crouch. Knocks it down for Osman. Crouch again. Holds up really well, but then the poor pass finds Denilson only, and he can break forward from midfield. He's beaten Nichols. He's beaten Flamini. Zonneveld in though. Fantastic defending. And O'Brien clears long. Crouch will chase it. And Van Boyten is forced into a big hoof downfield, which Reed does really well with. And Davis wins the challenge. Why are we not getting to make our changes? It's been 2 minutes. The ball's gone out for a throw-in. Help us out here. Crouch does the defending, but he's given it away again. He's not having his best game, to be honest, as O'Brien wins the header. Schmeichel's there. Davis gets it clear. Curtis Davis having a good game in the box now. Denilson's got the chance from 30 yards. I've been wanting to take Crouch off for 5 minutes. They're not letting me do it. Green puts it in. It's over the bar thanks to a Schmeichel save. Why am I not allowed to make the subs? What are we waiting for? Crouch is going to come off for Steve Howard. We're going to take... I was going to say Osman because he's struggling physically, and I will. Maloney's going to drop to the number 10. Walcott will come on for Osman just to give us electric pace on the break, because Lord knows Howard ain't providing it. And then we've got Flamini and Nicol struggling a bit. Keith Keane could come on. I don't want to mess with a back three. Baraji can't come on for Zonneveldt. He's doing too well. My options really are Richard Hughes, potentially for a bit more pace in the middle, or Keith Keane, who deserves football but isn't going to get it today, I don't think. We're going to take Nichols off for Hughes. Bit more physicality in midfield again. Flamini alongside will stay there. Corner kick for Manchester City. Can we avoid a grandstand finish? Sunji Hai puts it in. Into the back post, O'Brien does brilliantly. And now Walcott can chase it with Denilson. That's a good foot race. And he buys the throw in. Sensible play from the youngster. 7 to go, it's 2-0. Walcott's on for a debut and he's got the ball here. He's managed to get out of that zone. That's very good play. Unfortunately, we lose it straight after. Ferdinand will chase Stephen Ireland. It's in towards Wright Phillips. No quality on the cross. Out for a goal kick. Stays 2-0. We're probably a little fortunate to have a clean sheet in this game. In the second half, we have caught up on a shot count. Zonneveldt goes up against Rocker, loses it. Need to direct those goal kicks towards the target man, Howard, as we suggested and instructed. Ireland's in the box. He's unmarked. It's the first time Ferdinand's really lost his man, but he gets away with it. 5 to go, and it's just petering out, which is exactly what we wanted. A huge winners, a poor game, but a 2-0 victory. Some really good signs on the counter-attack. And to be fair, a game against a side who we were at the bottom with last season. A victory against them on the opening day is really important. Fantastic performances from a lot of these new players. And now, with a few debuts out the way, we can hopefully go from strength to strength. Denilson really struggling out there, isn't he? Not as quick as he once was either. Let's continue, see how that leaves us after the first day. The 3 points on the board, a really good performance. I don't think we had any injuries. Just double check it here. It doesn't look like it. Tim Cahill's out for 3 months for Everton. That's not a good sign for them. But we're looking in pretty good nick. That's without 3-star players today. Let's have a look at the fixtures and see when we're next going to be back, which will probably coincide with those guys as well. I think we're going to do the first 2 after the international break at the start of September, because I know it's not far away, but they're 2 huge games. Derby away and Palace at home are going to be the sort of games that define seasons, whereas we're probably still not at a stage where Arsenal, Liverpool and United will. If we by chance win all of the next 5, then yes, maybe we will come and look at Arsenal, Liverpool instead. But I think for now, we're going to focus on big relegation battles and the first 2 games after the transfer window, in which we may still get a couple of players out of the club and one more in, will be Derby County and Crystal Palace as we battle for survival yet again. Thank you so much for joining me for a new season. We'll bask in the glory of being 4th after half of the teams have played 1 game. Let me know in the comments what you think of our transfer window, our signings, our tactical shifts, and where we're going to finish this year. We'll see how many of you are right in about a week and a half's time when we reach the end of season 4. Hopefully we can avoid second season syndrome, but if you did enjoy this transfer special, chuck a thumbs up on it, subscribe and turn that notification bell on. Daily videos from this FM Let's Retro Save every weekday at 4:30. Make sure you come and join us tomorrow, because this is going to be a fun season. We've got to try and get a few more off the books, and hopefully we can push from strength to strength. I'll see you tomorrow to find out if that's the case or not.